seems impossible until it's done. The world is out there for us, right? We're about in the world. We get caught up quite easily in these human affairs that we involve ourselves with. And that's not to say I'm involved spiritually. I always make some disclaimers in videos, but I'm going to speak from the heart in this one, as I like to do with my videos. And to get to the heart of the matter, it's all about simply living our lives. Nothing more than that. For that's what it is, and that's what it constitutes. It's not much of a request, and it's not actually quite hard to achieve. It only requires courage because of what we've already gotten ourselves into. But once you're out of it, you're out of it. Again, what was impossible is no longer impossible. It is present, it is all surrounding, it is manifested. And that's how we create a great reality. And the problem is that you can create that reality with nature's the answer or other means which effectively, actively, requirementally do it, right? Just made that word up, requirementally, but this is just the flow of human heart, see? And the elites will still try to hold on to their power by all means. But again, their power always relies in people. So it is that people must have trust in the process, just like how they should trust their body when it comes to healing or getting sick, for example. One must go through a construction zone. It takes a while to get better again. And getting better is greatly assisted with nature, obviously, with elements that support that natural healing process. But regardless of that, it's to know that if humanity moves in the right direction, and if it is in the right direction, they don't want you to know that it is. And therefore, they'll point out all that is wrong, and all that is somewhat wrong, just to make it as a whole seem wrong, and therefore unnecessary and not the intended state of humankind. But they're very wrong, because there is an intended state of humankind, and that is nature within itself, and nobody can take that away, nobody can reverse that. Okay? Now, our human orderly brains are here for us to have this courage, are here for us to reach that world. It's not to create a government and rule over another human being, because now we're suppressing another individual's courage. We're suppressing their human nature. It's counterintuitive to do that. There's no place for government on this earth, because if I were to talk in any terms of natural living, I will not run into the word government pretty much ever. Just like if I were to talk about natural healing, I would not run into man's medicine pretty much ever, unless it was an extreme condition that was often created by man. So that's why there is some extent to which we have to bridge. And that bridge is there in the courage. It's there in the material. It's there in the appeal process. It's there in the mass casualty process. It's there in the transition process that can have short-term harm but long-term sustainability. Those concepts can be understood by an individual, and therefore they would have perhaps greater trust in this process. But that's why I have so many videos detailing it for hours, and I don't intend to. That's just the way it is. And me speaking upon the heart of the matter gets right to that very fact that it's simply about living our own lives and living the intended lives, but simply living our lives and being who we are to be. This isn't that complicated more than that. And it really doesn't have to be, because there's news articles everywhere. There's people telling you this conspiracy, that conspiracy. Look, call it conspiracy, call it not, I don't care. There's still ideas that are distracting us from what is simply here, what is simply simple. What is simply simple? See, all the technology, even independent media, doesn't matter what it is, it's all contributing to that complex situation, to the dependency situation, to technology independence. I mean technology dependence, I didn't say independence. It's all contributing to levels of I can't act, I should not act, and therefore I shall consume. It's still following the lines of consumerism, even if they are being productive in different ways, to which, of course, is good. Of course, is good, but is that going to create a manifested good in the world, objectively, and for the generations and for the world about? These are the questions you must ask yourself, and then these concepts alone can be too much for some person, and I understand that. The whole reason why this is a great work is because these concepts take a while. Whether it is the solution or the solution for the solution, both are rather difficult to understand, and I'm not claiming to have the solution. I'm claiming to simply live my life and be a human being. I don't want to get in these semantic wars or this let's talk about every little degree of understanding possible. And although I'm a writer and I love those concepts, I let them freely go by observation, writing and poetry and music and so forth. I don't encourage that people try to find one way of thinking about the world. In fact, people should have unique views upon the world. And looking at this natural lens should be already given. It shouldn't be something that's all one, abstract idea. It only seems like that in such a way because of the modern world. So we've detached ourselves, and that's why we are detached. And then people question, why is it hard to consume? Well, I mean, you're detached. No other way to put it. And again, it doesn't make me any better. I'm detached too. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody, you could say, is fully within the grasp of nature, but they are. They are. And that is the great irony of it, is that you can't escape it. It will always come. It's just about reducing the harm. All this is done to reduce the harm. So life will create its boundaries. It will create its cycles of order and chaos, may you say, depending on the attractions or the natural law expressions and so forth. And humans' duty is to follow their heart and follow where their own path belongs here in learning, though. Learning is essential to the process, and if there's no education of universal truths, then you wonder why people get hurt. Because those universal truths they usually pick up by observation of the world around them and how people react and so forth, but that can be suppressed, that can be distorted by different images and different viewpoints and different ideologies, and therefore natural observation becomes rather distorted, or may you say denatured, because they're being flooded with isms, flooded with information, and that information is not transformation. It's not going to change the world. You can say you can take information and turn that into transformation, but no. Again, information abundantly is amazing and incredible and great. The transformation lives in following a gust of wind, in learning to sail the tides if you are on a boat. And it's about using your resources properly, and therefore making the optimal transformation through all means of resource. So instead of information, you can say resources for transformation. And to transform, as you would with building a boat, requires taking resources and combining it with another resource to make something that hasn't been created before. This is called creativity, the very prime factor of what creates the real change in this world. It relies on our creativity. If we are not creative, we will fail, because creativity is the peak of human expression. It is what is suppressed in a denatured world, or held for few, or held for few with many dependent on such few, and so forth. Okay, it goes many different ways. It doesn't go one way, it goes many different ways. There's polarities at hand, there's correspondences at hand, and that's why one can get into semantics, is because of polarity, is because of correspondence, is because of irony, is because of yin and yang, right? Sun and moon, and masculine and feminine. These are all concepts that one will confuse, and I question on a daily basis how can I present myself and so forth, and I have to follow my heart in this process, and you should too. So when I introduce concepts, I say let it guide you on your journey. You decide what to do with that information. Okay? Because it's not transformation until you put it into action. Of course, again, with resource. And therefore, it all depends on you, because only you have your resources, only you live in your environment, only you have your brain and live in your exact situation and can feel your own pain. It's a way of life to which is the way of life. And to know that way of life, and to know of your own way of life, is then a powerful thing, because then you have direction. You have a way to go. And then you wonder why the expression is a way to go. That's because you have the way to go. You must be encouraged, you must be inspired and aspired to be the change, and you need to see and tap into where that source is for yourself. You need to also tap into where that creative potential is for yourself. And of course, that will change through time, and opening yourself up to new avenues will help with that creative energy. So trying different things and expanding the mind with different ideas. Your calling will come natural to you as you follow certain paths. Certain things will come to you, and it will seem like magic, or it may seem like the world is giving it to you. In reality, it's just the way this world is built, and its blueprint that can't fully be described through way of science or religion, and definitely not politics, which you may say is somewhat based on the two. And it would be crazy to underestimate nature, being that it is the root to all of those, and it is that which is so powerful, because it is of that of which is, and it is the most powerful. One strike of lightning, one natural occurrence. Nature is a very strong force of wrath, and it is one that one must understand, right? And it is to live about what is about. And it's a play on words for a very symbolic reason. All of this is because of the all. And such is why you have poetry and why it's so powerful. Because the world is powerful, as I just mentioned. And creativity is powerful, as I just mentioned. And creativity is poetry, and creativity is speaking, and creativity is words brought together and creating forms of understanding. That is creative human expression. Use it before you lose it, but no, this is not a threat. This is not a threat. This is to say, be you, enjoy life, love life, find the sense of love, of passion. Please, please do. Because that is where the real change lives for yourself. It lives in those memories, in those time capsules, in those bright flashes of light, and the changes of scenery and changes of day, and the smallest of things cheer you on because you are not bombarded by the many of things, by things. No, you were instead influenced by the powers of nature, the beauties of nature that is all around, that has always been around, because it is for you, it is here for you, it always will be, and I will always be here for you. I was questioning how I can bridge this to that of love, from personally me to you. Because I don't know if I will find love in my life, and I'll be honest with you. I'm a human being. I could share my own thoughts. And not just to speak upon the world, but on behalf of myself too, and you as well. For this gives great credence to that of the world and its manifestation, microcosmic and macrocosmic. And so, I love you as a human being. I love you in general. And I hope to find love, and I have love, and that is the powerful thing within this world, for sure. And you'll notice that it is attacked the most, just as the eyes are attacked the most, the heart, the brain, the gut, all of life at once, because all is connected. Although I can point out singular things, it's all one and the same. Bigger is more influenced, but smaller would be influenced, would it not? Oh, it's smaller, less of a chance? No, more influenced, if anything, if it gets to it. Often relying on the bigger systems that be. Right? Perhaps. Questions of the answer here already. Questions that you have to decide, that you have to ask. And individuals live life in interesting environments, to that of which, to conclude, they may take drugs, they may make mistakes here and there. They say it's mistakes, it's still a learning path on the way toward the truth. What is of the past is for the present, which is for the future, which is for the truth, which is for the connection, which is for the learning, which is for the experience, for which is the level to which is the max, and the max to which is the source, to which is the power. And a greater connection, a greater momentum, a greater energy, a greater data, a greater force, may you say. And such like a crystal, a food, anything in life, we are such that to which we build and build upon. To build and to create is in our being. We are generative. We generate. We love because we generate. We love to reproduce. We generate. And when we make mistakes, when there's problems, for those who I know are so many about there abundantly, we are all, it is all still creating what? Still part of the process of law, natural law, karmic law, because karma comes. Karma teaches. It's a thing. It's a thing, and it expresses through many ways, which is why science and religion has such a hard time grasping upon it. Because the truth to the matter is that science and religion of nature is more powerful than anything. It is more deep, more complex, more sophisticated, more philosophical, more philosophy than the others. I mean, or the more than anything, frankly. And so I record this at night, very late at night. But that's where I get my energy. That's where I get the passion. That's where I see that source come to me greater. And so I speak on behalf of it with technology, this great building of working, creative energy from the source. And so again, it is not spiritual. It is observational. It is learning. It is building upon ideas It is building upon energies to which all of this has been and is. It is frequency, energy, vibration. And so don't think that you've ever made mistakes. And don't think that everything has to change. Just follow and trust. Follow and trust, but don't follow the wrong leader. Follow nature. Follow yourself. Follow your parents, but know yourself. Help others. Follow them. Shall they be righteous in their ways? Shall they help you as you help them? Because you know yourself and they know themselves. And they can help you as you know how to help them. It's a giving and getting situation. What nature does best. And it is direct. It is correlative. It is quantitative. It is observable. It is measurable. And although it has ways of domino effects of karma that can't always be measured, that doesn't mean the science isn't there, and therefore it is null of any significance. Science only has its significance because of nature and because of the energies that brought us here. Same thing with religion. And again, going back to the idea of mistakes, you manifested certain energies and you realized they were mistakes. And that right there within itself solves the picture. That right there solves the energy. It's turning off a frequency and turning on another. It's pointing your head toward the sky and pointing your head towards something else. It's pointing the compass at the north. It is looking at the sun and absorbing its energy. You could do other things, but you are choosing the right actions over wrong, to which is of the best of the greatest attraction, of the most positive attraction, to which is of the manifestation of good. The manifestation of enlightened power that doesn't corrupt, power that enlightens, and therefore doesn't corrupt. But such light can be created out of the darkness, and of course the light can go out time to time, but the light is always there, because a night goes into day, and a day will go into night, but it will be a continuous cycle, just as you sleep and awaken, just as the lights turn on and off. And that sense of light gives sense to see, to knowledge, to be, of observation. The light has it all. The light has it all. What I mean is that if you're not in total darkness, the light is still there. Nobody's in total darkness. They can always repair. The light is always there, so they can care. They can care about their life, and life will be fair for them and for all. So that they can bear, so that they can be content, so that they are not dependent, so that way they are independent. because they have a light of their own. They're not dependent on the source of light because they've created their own. See, they created it. Just like we created lights. Okay? We may have not created the sun, but the sun is here for us, and what we have done is created based on the sun. There's good in the world, and we can create based on that. What we feed into, what our energy feeds into. No New Agey, you don't need to connect this to some prophecy or some textbook. Just use your own eyes. Get your mind away from that all and just look at all. And when it comes to your own life and those mistakes, you look at that all as well, objectively, as is, to what is and what can surround such environments. Think about the environments where the light and darkness is, meaning what are you conscious of, what are you unconscious of, where do you need a support, where do you not? Do you need to be honest and frankly true about certain things more than others? Can you simply be and have trust in the process, knowing that the process you are in is righteous, but not by some illusion, but by that of nature? Only you can determine that, because you are of nature. Once another person starts imposing their will upon you, of their own natural environment, their own nature, of their own world and their natures of environments and natures of the world and so forth, your nature becomes quite confusing. Don't confuse yourself. Just see yourself. If this is still difficult to you, or it sounds difficult in any sort of way, I ask you to be present with nothing. Or you look at everything you have and you reflect on the open, mysterious world of open and free, completely free thought, away from all articles, all media, all news, etc. And you look at everything you have, and you look at both. And maybe you put on some music. Maybe you have some foods. Maybe you do some fasting. Maybe you do something different. You stay up a little later. You get up a little earlier. You exercise. You jump around. You essentially spend your energy in different sources so you can understand different outcomes in different environments. It's what you put your energy into that you build and that you create. Keep that in mind. Thank you. I love you. Let's create love and therefore put energy into this all.